Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel. Peter likes books. And this is a book vlog. How are you doing? I haven't done a book vlog over here for a while, and I was gonna actually sit down and film this video, but I just got done doing a review at Starbucks. I just reviewed Katy Perry's go-to Starbucks order. And I also got a grande coffee. So I thought, what goes better with coffee than talking about books, right? So I wanted to talk about the sequel to Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire Saenz. And it is called Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World. So, if you are like me and you are somebody that read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe years ago when it came out, then you have probably been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for a sequel ever since the book came out. And I have to tell you, I was not convinced that there ever would be a sequel. The author had mentioned at several different times, by the way, I put it on my Instagram story and he reshared it. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. That was my little moment of fame. So interestingly enough, I have to tell you, back in the day, after I read the book, I think it was around the time that I was writing my book, I reached out to him because I had read his book, Last Night I Sang to the Monster, which is probably one of the most fantastic fictional accounts of any book to do with addiction and recovery. And so I just, like, one night found his email and I emailed him, and Benjamin Alire Saenz, and he emailed me back, and we emailed back and forth for a little while. And you know, it was one of the nicest exchanges that I've ever had with authors. Authors either tend to be, I would say, like famous authors, either tend to be very kind of closed in and guarded, or like very talkative. And he seemed to be a little bit of both. He was super, super nice though, you guys, and willing to give me any kind of suggestions on my writing, and kind of shared his feelings about the book with me and things like that. Now, I do know that recently, I think that he responded to somebody on Goodreads that left him, like, not the greatest review. I don't know really anything about that, but anytime I talk about him in a video, at least one person says something about that. So I don't know anything about that. But anyway, so I had been waiting for this book for a while. I had read some of his other works. There's another book of his, it's Something in Juliana Go To Hollywood. I read that book. I read his last book that he had that came out, The Inexplicable Something of Things or whatever. But obviously I'd been waiting for the Aristotle and Dante sequel, because it just kind of ends and you don't know, well, what happened to them, right? I have forgotten a lot about this book. First of all, I think it's important to note that at the time that this book is taking place, so it takes place in 1988 going into 1999, so half of it's in 88 and half of it's in 99. I would have at that time been 16 turning 17. In the book, Aristotle and Dante are 17 turning 18, and they're seniors in high school, and I would have been a junior in high school. So reading it from that perspective, and I don't know that I really had this recollection the first time that I read it, but reading it this time, for some reason, like, it really made me think a lot about high school, and it really made me think a lot about coming out. I came out in 1990. They come out in 1988, 89. And, you know, coming out into this world of AIDS and the AIDS crisis and the AIDS epidemic, and the fear surrounding that. You know, I talk a lot about it on my vlog, but to some degree, I had kind of forgotten what that fear was really like. And I have to say that he really encapsulates what that fear was like. I mean, it wasn't just a fear of coming out. It was a fear that if you were gay, not even having ever touched somebody else, but that you were going to die, because it was seen everywhere. And I talked about this on my vlog, I think last night. But you know, it was a different world that we lived in. You know, it wasn't just like, you know, the Westboro Baptist Church that hated gay people. It was a lot of people were saying that, you know, that this was, you know, a disease to kill gay men. And so it was a really scary time to come out in. And I can remember when I came out and I started going out to like gay bars and stuff like that, I would hear about names of people that had just died. Or, you know, they would say, oh, do you remember this person and that person, this person, that person? What's interesting is not until years and years later, probably like 10 years ago, when I started watching some fantastic documentaries about the AIDS epidemic, like We Were Here, or how to, what is it called? The one that's really good, that they talked about the gay men's health crisis in New York City. How to beat a, oh shoot, I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, there's like some fantastic documentaries out there. I did not know that AIDS actually came out in the late 70s. And I did know that the 80s were the time that it was really prominent. And being in Indiana, you know, here in Indiana, you would hear about it on the news all the time because of Ryan White, who died, you know, from AIDS that he received from a blood transfusion. And so I remember seeing it in the news a lot, and it was this terrifying thing. It was like, you know, I can remember it being synonymous with that. In fact, when I came out to my mother, she said, I'm scared for you, which was interesting because there was like a moment in this book that was very similar to this. But my mom said to me, you know, I'm scared for you. My mom was very liberal minded. You know, she had had a lot of gay friends. It wasn't like, you know, this was like a new concept for her. And I said, what do you mean you're scared for me? I said, Mom, you know, I'll be very safe and whatever. And, you know, I think, and I thought she meant like getting AIDS, and she said, no, that's not what I'm talking about. If that happens, we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. She said, but I'm scared because society is not kind to gay people. You know, and I was thinking about that in reading this book, and how much like society is still not 100% gay or 100% kind to the LGBTQIA plus community in any means whatsoever. But we've come a long way. I mean, we've really, really come a long way compared to where we were 30 years ago. And, you know, even just like in the book, they discuss a lot about the idea that they can't get married, you know, and they can't have a family or have kids. And they talk about that in the book. And it's interesting because I can remember like there was a time, not a time that I thought like, wow, like this would be really cool if they passed it, or if it would be really cool if, you know, that marriage equality existed. I'm talking about a time way before that, when that was never even a thought on the map, you know, that you never thought that would ever happen. Alex and I are watching American Horror Story, and in it, there's, I don't really want to ruin it for anybody, but in it, there's a gay couple, and like what is like happening to them on the show is so bizarre, first of all. But if that were, I was thinking, if that were on TV 30 years ago, like this show would be banned. I mean, nobody would watch it. It would have been like the most controversial thing in the entire world, right? So I think the fact that he brings it out and talks a lot about that, the theme of the AIDS pandemic is a huge part of this book. It's the backdrop to them coming out. There's actually a character in the book that dies of AIDS and talks about their response to that. And it's really the humanization. I wish I had kept a notebook while I was reading the book, because there are so many fantastic quotes in the book. One of my favorites is Aristotle is talking about I think his father is talking about something that his mom said to him about doing good deeds. And his mom's quote is, you don't get extra credit for doing the right thing. And I love that quote so much. And they're just, the book is flooded with, unbelievable quotes and mottos to live by. And I think more than that, I forgot how his writing is so beautifully poetic. it's almost like reading prose when you're reading it. It's almost not like reading a book. You know, some of the chapters are literally one sentence long. Some of the chapters are many pages long, and it goes back and forth, and it doesn't seem forced, and it's all told from Aristotle's point of view, most of which is about journal entries that he's writing, and just kind of talking about him coming out in this world of fear and the fact that he and Dante can't hold hands walking down the street, and also this impending idea that they are both going to college at the end of the year. And, you know, it's taken us two books to get Aristotle and Dante finally together, right? Just to find out that they're going to separate colleges. And that's kind of an idea at the beginning of the book, so I'm not ruining that for you. It's very smart, technically as an author, it's very smart because you want to find out what's going to happen at the end of the book. And I can tell you, I literally was ugly crying at the end of the book. I mean, it is so beautiful the way that the book ends. I totally did not expect it. I didn't see it coming whatsoever, what happens in the last, I would say, you know, 20 pages or so. I just didn't expect at all. And it is narrated by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who narrated, I believe, the first one, you know, from Hamilton, who is famous from Hamilton. And he does a beautiful job of narrating it. I did find out, because I was like, I talked about this in a vlog the other night. I was like, I'm kind of surprised that this book has never, I'm going to turn around and go the other way because the sunlight is like totally putting me in a shadow. But I said something in my vlog the other night about I was really surprised that this book had never gotten a movie. And I was like, well, maybe it's because he never wanted to sell it for movie rights. I could kind of see him being the author that would want to do that because, I don't know, it just seems like he's more into the artistic part of his writing than him getting fame and fortune off of it. So I kind of thought maybe that's why he had never sold it for movie rights. But I actually was Googling, because I wanted to make sure that I was spelling his name right, when I put it on my last video talking about what book I was reading, and it said that there was a movie in the works, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe movie in the works, which is super exciting, right? So that's coming down the road. I don't know when. I kind of, to be honest, at this point, like, if I had to, like, wish upon a star, the next book that I would like to read from him is, I would kind of like to see a book seeing where Aristotle and Dante are today. And I have a feeling that it wouldn't be what we guessed. The book is very, very real, you guys, and I'm trying to do a spoiler-free review because I know so many people are going to want to read it. The book is very realistic. It deals with very real issues of loss. It deals with a lot of very real issues of bigotry. It deals with very real and important issues, which, you know, at the scope of all of it is these two guys that are falling in love in a world that doesn't accept it. And that's a simple story. But the rest of it is really about the lessons that they are learning in this process of coming out. There's a fantastic part where Aristotle's mother comes out as heterosexual. And she's like, you know, I've never said that before. And it's just like this amazing moment. It's not trite. It's not copied. It's a genuinely authentic telling. And I will tell you this. It picks up exactly where Aristotle and Dante, the first one, Discover the Secrets of the Universe, where it ends. It picks up, like, the moment that it ends. And, it's just fantastically done. Yeah, I bawled and bawled at the end of the book, but I kind of want to know where they're at now, because in my mind's eye now, relating it so much to my own personal story, I mean, you can read it, and it reads very much like you could read it as two high school seniors today. To some degree, you could, but the historical background and knowing the timing of it, and knowing where I'm at in my life today, and knowing where, you know, the thing is, it would take it out of the young adult genre, but I would really love to know where they're at today, you know? I would really love to know where their story has taken them and what happens. And there's a lot in the book about activism you know, and I kind of like to know where they went with that. And it's interesting because, you know, listening to it, I was asking myself, what would have happened if I had graduated just like a year earlier? You know, what if my story was just a year earlier like theirs? But anyway, loved it, loved it, loved it. 5 stars all the way. Was not disappointed. It was the perfect sequel that I was looking forward to. And I love the fact that he puts it out when he wants to put it out, not years ago when everybody was like demanding a sequel, you know? I love that. I love his artistic integrity, that he's like, I'm not gonna rush this, I'm gonna do the, and when you're reading it, it feels very much like that too. It's like, there's one sentence here in a chapter, and then it's another chapter, and then it's like 3 paragraphs, and it's another chapter, and it's a song, and there's like, he writes his own rules, you know, and he's truly, I think, one of the most prolific authors of our time. So, I was super impressed with it. I loved it. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. 5 stars all the way. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.